Hi everybody, welcome to another episode. This is the fifth episode of the FM Channel podcast. I'm Claudio Rojas and I'm one of the co-owners of Alex Young Recruitment and senior recruiters there. Today I'm joined by Mike Green, who is a hard services FM consultant. Thanks for coming on the show, Mike.
Good afternoon.
Good. So I'm going to get straight into it really. Appreciate your time. So Mike, could you just give us a bit of a brief overview about your current role, what you do, your expertise, and then I want to then go on and talk a little bit about technology within the property industry, if that's okay.
Okay. Well, just a little over 20 years ago, I got into the hard services FM world straight out of construction engineering. Since then, I've mostly been in sales roles, but on a hard FM aspect. For the last 5 years, I've been self-employed as a hard FM consultant, advising contractors, assisting consultants, and also advising and assisting client operators. I do everything from an asset survey right the way up to a contract review, whether it's technical or commercial for that matter, health, safety, quality, environmental, performance, service delivery, performance versus gain share contracts, energy performance contracts, really anything to do with the engineering side of FM. Mm-hmm. Well, lately, I've got involved in the PropTech part of how PropTech supports that industry. PropTech has always been a part of building engineering management. So the BMS world has always been very aligned with not just the nuts and bolts of how buildings work, but the controls. Yeah. The software that backs those controls, which is now obviously being enhanced by IoT, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, BIM, all of these things that are starting to come together now almost as one service. So, we've heard of software as a service, we've heard of FM as a service, and all these different as a service things. But once you start to glue them together, it really does become very much a reality.
Right. Okay. So where are we at today, and where is this leading? Obviously, there's technology out there that's available that some companies are using, implementing. But is the FM industry doing enough to keep up with the pace of the technology, I guess?
Well, to answer the first question, where are we? We are a lot further behind the tech industry than we ought to be. And that is out of various reasons. The FM stroke construction industry, and to a certain extent the property industry, has been reluctant to invest in software in buildings. Most buildings are an investment for somebody. They might back a life and pension fund. They might be an investment for an individual investor. But they want to see a return on that building. Yeah. To see that return on that building, once they've fitted it out, they don't want to spend any more money on it. So, unfortunately, the occupiers of that building are at the behest of the people that could invest in the building for them. Having said that, some of the owner-occupiers are now moving forward. They see the light, they've smelt the coffee, and they're making a move to install smart technology, whether it be in just a small silo, for instance, in the M&E part, or whether they're taking it further into the more occupancy issues, where you've got you're measuring footfall, you're measuring security issues, you're measuring waste. It's all about data at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Data takes the form of almost like a currency, both in terms of what it can do for you, but actually it's got a resale value as well. So it becomes a revenue stream as well. So for instance, Microsoft, Facebook, Intel, all of these different companies, and one or two of the software houses as well, are interested in that data because that can tell them what to produce next in terms of software to resell again. And if they've got the data, the trend analysis, and the artificial intelligence, the analytical software that goes with that, that's given those that data in a report fashion that means something to them, it usually has a dollar or a pound sign in front of it.
Yeah.
And that's why they're interested in getting to the data that's in buildings and sucking it out through the systems that we will install, and sometimes at their cost, not ours.
Yeah. So that's where we are. So when buildings, like you say, they're built and they're installed, and then they're pretty much left. Nobody. It's the kind of the age-old FM, I guess, thing where people don't want to invest in FM because they feel that it's kind of, well, it doesn't make us any money. Why should we pay money to look after it? People don't realise, do they? Building owners don't realise that they need maintaining. Otherwise, it's gonna come down eventually. It'll stop working. It's not.
Well, the way this is going now is that the software and the equipment that is related to managing that building is part of a company's business infrastructure, whereas it didn't used to be. Yeah. It used to be a completely separate thing for running that building. Now it's linked with running their business. Productivity is at the core of that. And if they can increase productivity by using smart technology to run their workplace, not the building necessarily, because that kind of blurs the lines a little bit. But if you talk about the workplace and running their workplace, you're then talking about productivity, you're then talking about improving your bottom line, and then it moves up into the boardroom and it is getting tick up now.
Yeah. You start talking a different language, don't you, to people, as opposed
absolutely.
to running the buildings.
Different people making the decisions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So what will happen? So the FM industry is quite far behind. What could happen if the FM industry? What does it need to do, and what happens if they don't do it?
In a worst case scenario, if we keep as an industry sitting on our hands and not doing anything about it and adopting and embracing the technology ourselves, the IT companies could do it for us, and they could end up buying into our market and becoming the people that run our market, and we could end up being subcontractors to them. That's the worst possible case scenario. The longer we leave it, the more chance there is that might happen. If we don't, as an industry, pick up the ball and run with it, we'll get left behind. Right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's very, like you say, that's the extreme case, but very likely the technology in the IT industries, is worth billions. So
yeah.
Yeah. So
every industry is affected by modern technology. We use it at home. The greengrocers even use it, for crying out loud. They've got you go to the greengrocer now, he's got all his accounts on his phone.
Yeah, it's true.
20 years ago, when I took an article out of the Daily Telegraph or Sunday Telegraph into my boss and said, look, this is the future of FM. And he said to me, don't be so stupid. I was pointing at a BlackBerry.
Right. Okay, yeah. And, they've been gone now.
Yeah, but we're still putting handheld technology into bids and proposals as innovation.
Yeah.
With most of our clients have had them all their lives.
Yeah.
They're young enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do we need to do then? What does the FM industry need to do? Who needs to do it?
I think rather than let the IT world come to us, we've got to go to them.
Right.
We got to go to California, and we got to speak to Facebook, and we got to speak to Microsoft, and maybe we don't have to go that far, but you know what I mean. We need to speak to them and embrace them and invite them into our world as our subcontractor, not the other way around.
Yeah. So see what they can offer us, basically, and what technology they can offer us, and how then we sell it to.
Companies have made some moves into it. They've done some collaboration with these companies, but I don't think they really even scrape the surface.
Yeah. Okay. And so moving on from there, you talk about smart technology and smart buildings. Can you just explain to me and to viewers and listeners what a smart building is and how many smart buildings we've got in London?
You can make a building as smart or as little smart as you like.
Right.
I saw a great infographic today that showed the cycle of a smart building project. And it starts with who in the building wants it and needs it.
Right.
So that way you can define how big you want to go or how limited you want to be with your approach to smart technology. A 35,000 square foot multi-tenanted building in Bristol doesn't need to have all the bells and whistles. It probably needs a bit of energy management, and it probably needs some decent metering and perhaps some 5G for the tenants, etc., etc. It doesn't need the whole footfall monitoring security thing. It doesn't need the whole thing. It doesn't need a backbone that is an infrastructure, an IT backbone that will take everything hanging off it. You can actually do the bits in isolation, but it needs to be, if it's part of a portfolio, for instance, it needs to be able to send data back to probably a cloud-based piece of analytical software backed by artificial intelligence that can make sense of the data it's drawing down and make that building more efficient and the people that work in it more productive. So it gives them a healthier environment, less sick days, more productivity. It gives them a better lit environment, less eye strain, less opticians bills, better filtration, less chance of bugs going backwards and forwards between different parts of the office. So you come then right up to a company that was in the press today, Schroders. They've got apparently they've got the smartest building in London.
Right.
Ironically, they've now chosen to let their staff work at home.
Brilliant. So
they've spent a lot of money, but if you think about it, those staff aren't going to work at home full time. They're going to come into the office from time to time, and there will be people that are totally intransient that come backwards and forwards the whole time, and they want to come into a place that knows what they've been up to in terms of their work, and it's valued and appreciated. The more efficient that office is assisting them to do their job better wherever they are, at home or whether it be around their parents' house or whatever it might be, or in the office, the better they can actually work, with that backbone that I talked about, the better and more efficiently they can work. So it doesn't matter where they are. They have high speed wherever they are. It doesn't matter whether they're sitting, in a car park in Bournemouth watching the sun go down, or whether they're sitting in their living room with the football on in the background. They've still got high speed to their computer, no matter where they are, because the infrastructure that company has got is such that it supports them. The company itself benefits from it, obviously with the productivity issue, but with the data, if, for instance, Schroders have got all of their buildings linked across the world, they can tell where the buildings are performing well and not performing so well. With the analytical software, with the artificial intelligence backed analytical software, they can tell why those buildings are operating better than others, and then they can start concentrating on the ones that are not operating so well to bring their game up. So the company benefits from it, the individual benefits from it, no matter where they're working. But when they come into the office, of course, they've got everything in front of them. It's just they could be at home actually, but they've got their colleagues around them. And so you have to be, when you start your project, your smart building project, you have to sit down first of all, work out why you want it, what you want to do with it, and then you can start to get everybody that's involved in that element of what you want to do, get them on board. Always use some form of a specialist consultant, because there are going to be areas that you just don't understand. It doesn't matter. Any IT director in any company is not going to be able to understand it all, and he will need help, or she will need help. So, get somebody in to work with you. They'll know the marketplace. They'll know the specialist suppliers. They'll know the contractors best placed to install. What's more, they'll be able to write you a regime of how you operate and manage that system once you've got it up and running, and get the most from it. And you don't just put it in and leave it. It's work in progress forever.
Right. Okay.
You know that your phone is outdated in a year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, it's going to be the same with smart technology in buildings.
Right. Okay. It's really interesting. So you talk about getting the specialist consultancy and IT people, because nobody will know everything your IT person won't know. What does PropTech mean to, let's say, the M&E side of things, the people the maintenance guys we've got now running the building, doing the PPMs, doing the reactives, who are monitoring the BMS? How will their job change? Will we see new jobs being created, brand new jobs in smarter buildings, or will the maintenance engineer, the technician, the electrician, mechanical guy, will they be having to retrain and look at new skills, basically, or new skills?
Yeah, there's two aspects to that. The guys that you mentioned that are doing the job already, their jobs will change slightly. They'll have less reactive work, because a lot of it will be predictive. With the software, they'll be able to see that a machine or a piece of equipment is starting to fail, not has failed. So they can go and mend something before it actually fails, and you get that loss of availability. So they can iron out expensive reactive works before they actually get there. I think the interesting part about what we're talking about, there's been a lot of talk about the skills gap in our industry. And recruiting people into the industry from scratch, from school. This is going to have give a completely different look to our industry to a school leaver. Whereas before, a school leaver would look at coming into the maintenance industry, pair of overalls, spanners, screwdrivers, grease, dirty filters, and it really wasn't very sexy. Now we're talking about operating buildings, possibly remotely, with a laptop, with some really fancy software. Well, it is fancy to us today. By the time they get to use it, it won't be mundane, but it will be fairly everyday technology. And I think it's going to be a fillip for the industry in terms of recruitment, your specialist area. Bringing new blood into the industry is so difficult. People still fall into FM by mistake. And that shouldn't be the way.
No, so many people say that, don't they? You see so many things on or articles or interviews, or with people from the industry say, I fell into FM. And there was a thread that I was following yesterday, actually, on LinkedIn, about the skills shortage amongst, in specifically electricians, actually. And this has been a topic that I've heard ever since I started recruitment. That's 18 years ago. There's been a skill shortage. And like you say, that's recognised, but nobody has the answer or the solution onto how do we kind of fill that gap? How do we kind of get people? And it's got to start at the careers days, at school leaving days. The FM industry has got to promote, in my opinion, it's got to promote itself more at that level, because at the moment, like you say, people fall into it. They might start work as a receptionist or on front of house, and then fall into FM and develop that way into a building manager and then operations manager. And many technicians talking about the hard services side of thing. A lot of guys who I speak to on a daily basis might have gone down the electrical route or mechanical route because it's in the family a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or friends have done it and they've kind of followed suit, but it's not because, oh, well, I saw that, I read into it, I kind of researched it, and I could see there's a great career within becoming an engineer, maybe into FM, into building management. You know, the routes are endless once you get into it. Really, it's great, but people don't know about it. You know.
No, I think it will help to professionalise the industry. There are a lot of very good, serious professionals in the industry, but we're not recognised as an industry. We're not recognised as a sector. We're either under engineering or we're under construction.
Yeah.
When you think that facilities management and support services provide approximately 6.4% of GDP, and we're not recognised as a sector.
It's insane.
It's frightening. You know, and I wish I could do something about it, but I don't see anybody else doing anything about it in the industry either. We've got professional bodies that are supposed to support us and actually promote the industry as a professional industry, yet nobody goes to the government and starts banging the table and saying, look, if we're going to be professional, we need to be recognised. You know, we want a separate section in the pink pages, so we're recognised. And when Parliament meets and talks about GDP, they can talk about construction, they can talk about public services, but they can also talk about FM as a separate sector, and it should be recognised as a separate sector. The skills are widely different.
Yeah, so many of the larger companies that we've dealt with over the years, and that our construction arms as well, end up coming under the construction arm and a blanket kind of, we're going to do it like this because the main business is construction. So, and it just stresses people out. Oh, it doesn't work like that for us because we're different. The FM operates differently, but they're trying to make us operate like the construction industry, and it's different. It completely is.
Yeah.
So just before we finish, tell us a little bit about what used to be the CLMA. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's been rebranded now, hasn't it?
Yes, it's been completely rebranded. The rebranding's nearly complete. The website which is part of BISA now, will be complete in the next week or two. We go live sometime in October, a date to be advised, but we're working towards that. It's definitely going to be October. The Technology Enabled Maintenance Association, as it is now called, was born out of the old CLMA. I was lucky enough to get the assistance of BISA, and we're now part of BISA to get to this point where we're going to launch it as part of the BISA offering. BISA has a facilities management work stream, which is the sort of smaller cousin of the main work stream, which is construction for BISA. And we will be part of that work stream. In fact, at the moment, we'll probably lead it, with the exception of SFG20, which is a product that they use obviously in the maintenance industry, and it's owned by BISA. What we intend to do, and this is new to BISA, is to allow individual members of TEMA, not corporate membership. And for the first time ever, BISA will now have individual members as well as corporate members. We're finalising the package that's on offer and a cost associated with membership. But what essentially we're there to do is to disseminate to our audience information and guidance to do with smart technology in buildings, in the built environment. We will touch on smart technology in construction to a certain degree, where that ends up being part of the operating infrastructure of a building that then goes into occupancy. We're going to put together case studies from manufacturers and clients alike. We're going to run blogs on case studies on projects. We're going to have a knowledge bank of individuals that are subject matter experts throughout the whole of the smart building spectrum. So our members will be able to speak to them and get advice from them, or guidance, or telephone number if that's all they need, of the right person to speak to, you know, to get help with their project. Aside to that, there will be a whole raft of what we call bog standard BISA benefits attached to the membership. And in future, what we want to do is to start holding proper attended events. To start with, there'll be blogs and webinars.
Yeah, yeah.
There will be attended events and tours of smart buildings.
Brilliant. Now, it's a great idea. I hope it goes well. So you're saying that's going to be launching October time?
Yeah.
Officially?
Yeah, and you'll be able to access, once it's up and running, you'll be able to access the TEMA website via the BISA website. You can obviously Google TEMA and you'll find it.
Sure.
But at the moment, it'll go straight through the BISA website to the TEMA page.
Great stuff. Well, listen, Mike, we'll look forward to seeing that, and you keep me posted, and we'll get it out there on LinkedIn and stuff and get it promoted so more people know about it as well. Hope it goes well. And yeah, we'll leave it there for today. So listen, really appreciate your time on that, and hopefully more people will start shouting about technology, PropTech within the FM sector, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Nice one. Take care. See you soon.
Cheers. Bye.